What is going on, everyone? My name is Andy. Welcome back to another World Cup 2022 fantasy video, and in this one it's my team selection for the semi-finals. This will either be the penultimate World Cup 2022 fantasy video or possibly even the final one, which I'll talk about a little bit later, but I am going to show you how the team is shaping up ahead of the semi-finals. I've already made a bunch of transfers because I had a load of players in the quarterfinals get eliminated from the tournament, so I've already locked them in, so you'll see what they are in just a second. Before all that, we'll quickly go through the quarterfinals, which, as you can see on screen, spoiler alert, went really badly. But if you have been enjoying the World Cup videos, please do make sure to keep giving them a like. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and also FPL content will be back very soon. So quarterfinals was just a disaster all round. I got 25 points in total, which is no good. I went from just inside like the top 25k or something like that to just inside the top 45k. So the World Cup fantasy has gone about as well as my FPL season is going, which is not great at all. And to cap it all off, England went out, absolutely gutted about that. I won't go into too much details because this is a fantasy video, but I felt like at the very least we matched France. I don't think they heavily outplayed us. We knew it was going to be a tight game going into it. That's what happened. On another day, could England have won? Maybe, but it didn't happen. I'm kind of gutted about it still. I just think, if Harry Kane had scored that second penalty, what could have happened after that? I mean, France may have just scored a third goal and England would have been chasing again for the third time, but you just don't know with these things. So, very frustrating. I also had 5 England players, but if you want to know how seriously I'm taking the game, bearing in mind we'll all forget about it in a couple of weeks and, the overall rank and stuff won't get saved. I had Messi on 9 points, who was my captain, and I had Mbappe as well. So if I really wanted to switch off Messi, which I probably shouldn't have done anyway because he was on 9 points, I could have just gone for Mbappe. But instead I used a transfer on Mbappe to Kane like I probably said I would. And then rather than switch the captaincy to Kane, I put it on Harry Maguire. And he ended up with -2 points. Luke Shaw got nothing. Bellingham got 2. Saka and Kane did get something, 13 points between them. So it wasn't a complete disaster. But Harry Maguire captain, to go from 18 to -2, that's probably not great. It's probably not the best way to play fantasy football. That's not the kind of move you'll be seeing from me in FPL, that's for sure. Elsewhere, literally nothing, right? Fernandes 2. Rodrigo de Paul 2 for Argentina. Hernandez got a -1. Guerrero went out of the tournament on 0 points. I switched Alisson with 1 point to Martinez, who got 0 points. It was just rubbish all round. Now, obviously, I could have backed France a little bit more and gone, half and half, not gone all in on England and maybe got 2 or 3 French players and only two, maybe 3 English players as well. But that's not how I wanted to play. So that's why I went for it. I thought Portugal would beat Morocco. That didn't happen. Fair play to Morocco. And obviously Croatia through as well, and I only had Perisic, who got 1 point in that game too. So all round, the World Cup, apart from England going out, has been really interesting, but my fantasy team just kind of really went missing this week, and a lot of players got eliminated. The only ones still in are obviously the Argentinian players, so Martinez, Messi and De Paul. Hernandez for France. I think every other player has gone out apart from Perisic. So Marquinhos and Richarlison for Brazil are out. My 5 England players are out, and Fernandes and Guerrero for Portugal. So yeah, it didn't go well at all. England went out. I'm not saying I've lost interest, but the love for the game has kind of gone out a little bit. That being said, I have made my transfers for the semi-final, so let's talk about them. So the reason I said this might be the final World Cup video is because of the 3rd and 4th place playoffs. So I've made quite a few transfers in my defence already. I've taken out Maguire, Marquinhos and Guerrero at Portugal, and I've brought in Koundé, Varane obviously for France, and Otamendi for Argentina. Now, Argentina and France are heavy favourites to win their semi-final games, but even if they don't, it doesn't really matter a huge amount from a fantasy perspective because they'll still have one more game to play. Now, I'm pretty sure, I can't remember 100%, but I'm fairly sure in Euro 2020 fantasy, only the final counted in the final match day. But for World Cup, as far as I know, in the final match day, the 2 teams playing in the final and the 2 teams playing in the 3rd and 4th place playoff will contribute to our final points total. So I don't know how many transfers there's really going to be for the final match day, apart from maybe suspensions, injuries, and obviously possible rotation in the lineup, right? Teams in the 3rd and 4th place may give minutes to other players that wouldn't usually play, but we'd have to wait for the lineups to know that anyway. So that's why I've gone heavy on the favourites, because if Morocco happen to beat France or Croatia end up beating Argentina, those players that I've picked will still play again, right? That's essentially why I've done it. So I've gone for Koundé, Varane and Otamendi. I think I would have liked to have gone for one of the Argentinian fullbacks, and maybe this is one of the reasons why I should have waited to make my transfers, because I could have just, seen the lineups and gone from there. But I wanted to get it done so I could show you what I was thinking. I just had a look at the Argentinian players that have played over the World Cup, and there's been a little bit of rotation. Like, they played a back 5 against Netherlands, they played back 4 in other games, so I just went for the guy that's featured all the way through, which is Otamendi. And I think in terms of a clean sheet potential, out of the 4 teams that are left, France are probably favourites to get one. I know Morocco have done really well. I know they themselves, I think, have only conceded 1 goal, and that was an own goal, so it's not like anyone's really been scoring on them heavily, but France is a totally different kind of game to have to play, and I think if anyone's getting a clean sheet in this match day, that's who I'm going to back. So that's why I've gone for 3 of their defenders, 2 from Argentina, no Croatian defenders, no Morocco defenders either. Like I said, it doesn't really matter because of the 3rd and 4th place, unless I'm missing something. I've tried thinking about this. Am I missing something why I just wouldn't go for the favourites? Because if they get knocked out, they play again. I don't know. Let me know in the comments if I am. Just quickly on the bench, I've got Alisson, Shaw, Saka and Bellingham. Obviously, none of them are going to play any more minutes at this World Cup, at least. I'm sure Saka and Bellingham and probably Shaw will play again. Maybe Alisson too. But anyway, that doesn't matter. I'm not going to use any more transfers to get substitute players. I just don't think it's worth it. So I've used my 5 free transfers and I made 1 additional one to take a -3. So I've made 6 transfers in total. I'm not going to make any more for the bench. It doesn't matter. There's only 2 games on now, right? Argentina and Croatia will play first, then it'll be France and Morocco. So that's what I've gone for, just a full 11. That's the defence. I think it looks pretty good, right? I'm sure some of you are backing Morocco. I think I've got to back France. They're probably the favourites to win it now. So for midfield, both Rodrigo de Paul and Perisic were carried over from the quarterfinals. So they both went through. I didn't see any point in using a transfer on them. Obviously, I had a lot of players that were eliminated, so that's where I had to focus my transfers on first of all. You might be in a slightly different position. If you've backed the correct teams and players that have gone through, and you're sat there with like 9, 10 or even 11 playing players before you start making too many transfers, then you could even take out a player that has got a fixture and still in the tournament for someone that's better. Like if I had 2 million in the bank and a load of spare transfers, I might look to do Rodrigo de Paul to McAllister, for example. You could even look to upgrade your bench as well. There's nothing to say that you can't kind of go all in on, more Argentina and Croatia players than I have, and then obviously stick a few France and Morocco players on your bench. You can definitely do that. I'm just not in that position. So I've got to keep hold of De Paul and Perisic. My midfield transfer that I made was Bruno Fernandes to Modric. Now, I took out Fernandes before Bellingham or Saka because he was more expensive. He was 9.5 million. So that allowed me to get Modric in and spend that million elsewhere. Nearly a million anyway. I've still got 0.5 in the bank. So I think a lot of the defender transfers were kind of upgrades in terms of price. So I think Marquinhos was like 5.5. Maguire was 5.5 and Varane and Koundé are both 1 million, right? So that's why I've got rid of Fernandes. I brought Modric in because I look at the 2 semi-finals. I think if you look at the bookies odds, obviously own thoughts as well, 5.38, etc. I think most of us have Argentina and France as the favourites. But if either Croatia or Morocco are going to win, I think it's more likely that Croatia beat Argentina than Morocco beat France. And obviously Morocco have been incredible, and I'm sorry I've even said that, Morocco fans. There's every chance that I'm just wrong like I usually am, and you get through to the final. But I think realistically, it's more likely that Croatia win their game than Morocco win against France. So that's why I've gone for Modric. Also, I just don't see a huge amount of other midfield options. Like, if it's Modric versus McAllister, then I'm probably going to go for Modric. There's nothing to say that Di Maria will definitely start. Again, I could have just waited for the lineups, but I wanted to get this done. And when you look at the French team, a lot of the players that I would want from them are all listed as forwards. Like Rabiot could have been an option, for example, but I just, him versus Modric, I'm going to go for Modric every single time. So that's why he's in. So just 1 midfield transfer, Fernandes to Modric. I'm just going to keep Bellingham and Saka on the bench like I've already spoken about, and Rodrigo de Paul and Perisic are the other ones. So I think as they have been for most of the tournament, the forwards were probably the easiest position to pick. The transfers pretty much picked themselves at least. So I already had Messi. He's definitely staying against Croatia. There's no reason to get rid of him unless he gets injured, and he'll be my captain for the first semi-final. Then I simply did Richarlison, who's 7.5 million, straight to Giroud, who's the same price. And then I just switched Kane back to Mbappe. So if you remember, before the quarterfinals, I had Mbappe in the team from the round of 16, and I just switched him to Harry Kane for that England-France game, and I've just switched them back. And I think, look, I'm not going to be looking at Croatian or Moroccan forwards instead of either of those two. The only player possibly that I could have looked at is Alvarez for Argentina. So I don't know right now at the time of recording whether Alvarez or Martinez will start up front for Argentina. And again, I know I've said this a lot now. I could have just waited, right? And if Alvarez starts, I could have gone for him instead of Giroud. But I've just gone for the players that are absolutely nailed on. And obviously Mbappe is probably the best of the lot anyway in that position. And if Messi doesn't get enough points, Mbappe will be the one that I swap it to. There won't be any crazy captain switches here because there's no England players. So I'm not going to suddenly go and put it. I don't think so anyway. Unlike, I don't know, Koundé, Varane, Hernandez or Giroud or anyone like that. It will just go from Messi to Mbappe. So I think that looks pretty good. At this point, obviously, there's only 4 teams to pick from. So if you think about all the templates we talk about in FPL, there's definitely going to be a lot of template players here for the semi-finals. I'm not really sure if there's anyone I'm missing. Just the Argentinian forwards, possibly. Someone like McAllister. I don't know, you could even go for Griezmann as a punt if you wanted to for France. He's been excellent in this tournament. To, Moroccan players possibly. But I don't think there's a huge amount wrong with this team. I think it looks pretty good. Let me know in the comments below what you think. Have I made a mistake by not waiting for my transfers? Are there any players I should have considered instead of Modric, Giroud, Mbappe, Koundé, Varane and Otamendi? They are basically the 6 players I brought in. Let me know in the comments below. If you have been enjoying the World Cup series, do give it a like. Hit that subscribe button if you're new. And I'll catch you again soon. Maybe for the final match day video for the World Cup. If not, definitely for some FPL content pretty soon.